Good morning, everybody.
Good
Good
morning,
morning,
Bantaji.
Bante.
Okay, now we are going to have another Dhamma talk. I must remind you, this is my last Dhamma talk for this year, and tomorrow I start my 3 months seclusion,
Uh,
and I will resume my talks after the 15th of March 2026. And therefore, this will be the last Dhamma talk. Also, there will not be a Dhammapada discussion this afternoon because we have a board meeting and therefore we cannot have Dhammapada talk this afternoon. So this is the announcement, and let us begin with our discourse. Again, as I said, this discourse also is very profound discourse. You listen to it very carefully and try to remember. This discourse also is focused on monks, but it is in general good for everybody to understand the nature of arahant, nature of fully enlightened individual. This is the summary in this discourse. So this is how it happens. On one occasion, Venerable Sariputta was dwelling at Savatthi in Jetasgo, Anathapindika's park. Now on that occasion, the following pernicious view had arisen in a bhikkhu named Yamaka. You remember in the past, we talk about the discourses delivered by the Buddha. This discourse is delivered by Venerable Sariputta. What Sariputta taught Yamaka is exactly the same as the Buddha would teach. And therefore there is, so far as Dhamma is concerned, whether it is taught by the Buddha or Venerable Sariputta. Difference is Buddha was the discoverer of this, Sariputta was the disciple who followed the Buddha's discourses word for word. So following pernicious view, wrong view, Michhaditi, arose in Venerable Yamaka. He also is a good monk, but this pernicious view arose in his mind. What is the pernicious view? As I understand the Dhamma told by the Blessed One, a bhikkhu whose chains are destroyed is annihilated and perished with the breakup of the body and does not exist after death. So Bhikkhu Yamaka thought once an Arahant died, he would be annihilated, perished. This is a pernicious view of annihilationism. Annihilation is a Uchchedavad, annihilation. A number of bhikkhus heard that such a pernicious view had arisen in Bhikkhu Yamaka. Then they approached Venerable Yamaka and exchanged greetings with him, after which they sat down at one side and said to him, this is a very polite way. They were not aggressive. They went and had a good conversation. And then asked Venerable Yamaka, is it true, friend Yamaka, that such a pernicious view as this has arisen in you, such as As I understand the Dhamma told by the Blessed One, a bhikkhu whose stands are destroyed is annihilated and perished with the breakup of the body and does not exist after death. So whenever Yamaka did not want to hide anything, he wants to be very truthful as far as his view is concerned. And then he said, exactly so, friends. As I understand the Dhamma told by the Blessed One, a bhikkhu whose stands are destroyed is annihilated and perished with the breakup of the body and does not exist after death. Then this bhikkhu said, Venerable Yamaka, friend Yamaka, do not speak thus. Do not misrepresent the Blessed One. It is not good to misrepresent the Blessed One. The Blessed One would not speak thus. A bhikkhu whose senses are destroyed is annihilated and perish with the breakup of his body and does not exist after that. Buddha would never say that. Don't misrepresent. Yet, although he was admonished by the bhikkhus in this way, the Venerable Yamaka still obstinately grasped that pernicious view and adhered to it. Is Adanagahi Duppadinisagi. He was very firmly, obstinately held to his view. He doesn't want to give it up. And then these bhikkhus thought, well, he said, as he thought, again he repeated, as under Dhamma told by the Blessed One, a bhikkhu whose senses are destroyed, annihilated, and perish with the break of his body does not exist. And these bhikkhus were unable to convince him. Since those bhikkhus were unable to detach the Venerable Yamaka from that pernicious view, they rose from their seats, approached the Venerable Sariputta, and told him all that had occurred. And so sometimes monks went to the Buddha and complained. Now, in the absence of the Buddha, they approached Venerable Sariputta, who also was able to explain Dhamma exactly as the Buddha did. It would be good if Venerable Sariputta would approach the Bhikkhu Yamaka out of compassion for him. This is the sentence they say, repeat when they met the Buddha, that they would request the Buddha to go. Now they requested Venerable Sariputta. The Sariputta consented by silence, is exactly like Buddha did. Then in the evening, the Venerable Sariputta emerged from a seclusion. He approached the Venerable Yamaka and exchanged greetings with him, after he sat down to one side and said to him, and this is exactly what the Buddha also would do. After lunch, he would go into seclusion in very silence, meditating. So when Sariputta got up from his meditation, he went to the Yamaka and said, asked the same question. Is it true, friend Yamaka, that such a pernicious view as this has arisen in you? As I understand Dhamma told by the Blessed One, a bhikkhu whose stands are destroyed and is annihilated and perishes with the breakup of the body and does not exist after that. So Venerable Yamaka repeated again, yes, Venerable Sir, yes, yes, so, exactly so, friend. What do you think, friend Yamaka? Is form permanent or impermanent? He said, impermanent, friend. And he went on asking, all these are not given here. It is abbreviated. The rest is, he asks, whatever is impermanent, suffering or happiness? He said, suffering. What is impermanent? That impermanent thing is suffering, not something outside. That very thing. Yampananityam dukkam viparinama dhammam. Is it subject kallantam samanipastum etam eso mase eso attati? No etang also. Whatever is impermanent, unsatisfactory and subject to suffering, is it proper to consider that this is mine, this I am, this is myself? In the yesterday discussion also we used the same pattern. So, form is impermanent, feelings are impermanent, perceptions are impermanent, volitional formations impermanent, and consciousness is impermanent. And then when he knows this, so it is better for you to think, Tasmatya also yankanya rupam, what is the form, feeling, perception, thought, volitional formations, and consciousness, past, gross or subtle, internal or external, gross or subtle, low or high, close or far. All these are not mine, not myself, not I am. And seeing thus, he understands there is with wisdom, he becomes disenchanted, dispassionate, withdrawn, and liberate himself. There is no more things for this state of being. Na parangithataya. And then he asks, what do you think, Yamaka? Do you regard form as the Tathagata? Here the word Tathagata is used for an Arhat. Not only Buddha, but the word here Tathagata used for Arahant. Yes, what do you think, friend Yamaka? Do you regard form as the Tathagata? No, friends. Do you regard feeling as Tathagata? Perceptions as Tathagata? Volitional formations as Tathagata? Consciousness as Tathagata? No, friend. What do you think, Yamaka? Friend Yamaka? Do you regard Tathagata as in form? No, friends. Do you regard Tathagata apart from form? No, friend. Do we regard the Tathagata in feeling, apart from feeling? Is in perception, that Tathagata is in feeling, in perception, apart from perception, in volitional formations, as apart from volitional formations, as in consciousness, as apart from consciousness. Do we regard Tathagata in such a way? No, friends. What do you think, friends, Yamaka? Do you regard form, feeling, perception, volitional formations, and consciousness taken together as Tathagata? No, friends. What do you think, friends, Yamaka? Do you regard the Tathagata as one who is without form, without feeling, without perception, without volitional formation, without consciousness? Answer is no. No, Venerable Sir. Now, this is the very tricky thing. You don't consider the Tathagata as form, feeling, perception, evolution, formation, and consciousness, or in form, feeling, perception, thought, and volition, formation, and consciousness, or apart from all of them. His answer is no. Similarly, therefore, but friend Tathagata is, and therefore is not in them, not apart from them, not identical with them, and then can you see Tathagata in this very life? You cannot see it. That means Arahanthood is not the form, not the feeling, not the perception, not volitional formations, not consciousness. It is not the body. It is the attainment of liberation, which is totally mental. The Buddhahood, Arahanthood, is mental attainment, not anything physical. You cannot see it in the body. So Venerable Sariputta asked, but friend, when the Tathagata is not apprehended by you as real and actual here in this very life, is it fitting for you to declare, as I understand the Dhamma told by the Blessed One, a bhikkhu whose stains are destroyed is annihilated and perished with the breakup of the body and does not exist after death? Is it proper? When you cannot see the Tathagata or the Arahant enlightened one in this very life, then how can you say that he will be perished, annihilated? There has to be something that you can apprehend, comprehend as something existing now. What exists that passes away? What exists that passes away, not something else. So if you don't see Arahant in his form, when form he passes away, how can you say that Arahant is annihilated? What you see is the destruction of the body, but you cannot the destruction or annihilation of the Arahanthood. And therefore, this is wrong. He persuaded. Then Venerable Yamaka said, formerly, friend Sariputta, when I was ignorant, I did hold that pernicious view. But now that I have heard this Dhamma teaching of the Venerable Sariputta, I have abandoned that pernicious view and have made the breakthrough to Dhamma. So, at that instant, Venerable Yamaka, as I mentioned earlier, is a very good monk. Only thing is he had this ignorance. And therefore, ignorance is the last fetter to destroy. Among 10 fetters, wrong sakkaditi, believing in self, which Venerable Sariputta proved that the body is not self, feeling is not self, and so forth. Then doubt about the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and morality. Then believing attainment of enlightenment by following rituals, all this destroyed. 3 fetters, attains extreme entry. Greed and hatred attenuated to weaken in one's eternal stage, and greed and hatred destroyed by attaining anagami stage, and remaining Ruparaga, Manutta, Chavijja, destroys when you attain enlightenment, full enlightenment. Avidya is the last one. So Venerable Yamaka had already attained anagami state, but he had to destroy avidya. I was ignorant. That means he had avidya. If friend Yamaka, they were to ask you, friend Yamaka, when a bhikkhu is an arahant, one whose strengths are destroyed, what happens to him with the break of the body after death? Being asked thus, what would you answer? How will you answer that question? If they were to ask me this friend, I would answer this friend, form is impermanent. What is impermanent is suffering. What is suffering has ceased and passed away. That is passed away, not arahant. Impermanent. What is impermanent? This is a very good question Venerable Sariputta asked him. Being asked this, what would you answer? How would you answer? If they were to ask me this, friend, I would answer this thus. Friends, whoever asked him, form is impermanent. What is impermanent is suffering. Now, what is suffering? What is impermanent? Not anything else. Whatever is impermanent, that is suffering, not something else. What is suffering has ceased and passed away. What is passed away, that's suffering. Second noble truth, third noble truth. And similarly, form is impermanent, feeling is impermanent. What is impermanent is suffering. What is suffering has ceased and passed away. Perception is impermanent. What is impermanent is suffering. What is suffering has ceased and passed away. Volitional formations are impermanent. What is impermanent is unsatisfactory or suffering. What has then that it is what is suffering? It is that suffering that ceases. And consciousness is impermanent. What is impermanent is suffering. What is suffering has ceased and passed away. Nothing else. Five aggregates of impermanent suffering and they pass away. Five aggregates of clinging. Five aggregates of clinging. Being asked different, I would answer in such a way. So, Venerable Sariputta gave a very beautiful simile to make the meaning of this statement is very, very clear. He said, good friend Yamaka. Venerable Sariputta approved Venerable Yamaka's answer. And he gave him, to make it even clearer in his mind, he said, now friend Yamaka, I will make up a simile for you in order to convey this same meaning even more clearly. Okay, what is the simile? Suppose, friend Yamaka, there was a householder or householder's son, a rich man with much wealth and property, protected by a bodyguard. This fellow, this is an assumption, simile. We don't know whether such person exists or not, but this is simile. This rich person, he has a lot of wealth, but no brain. He cannot think, no intuition. And therefore, to protect him and his property, he has a bodyguard. Then some man would appear who wanted to ruin him, to harm him, to endanger him, and take his life. Okay, another very cunning fellow comes. And he said, and he is so, does such a thing like he would occur to that man, this householder son is rich man with much wealth, property, protected by bodyguard. It won't be easy to take his life by force. Let me get close to him and then take his life. Let me win his heart and make him believe that I am his friend. I'm his friend. So he wanted to cheat him. And so he comes closer and closer and closer. And then he would approach that householder or householder son and say to him, I would serve you, sir. Then the householder son would appoint him as a servant. Without no investigation, no checking out. Just, okay, I serve you, sir. So he just appoint him as his servant. The man would serve him, rising up before him, retiring after him, doing whatever he was, agreeable in his conduct, endearing in his speech. Even this foolish fisherman scolded him, used very harsh words. This very cunning person will tolerate it because his motive is very vicious motive. The householder or householder son would consider him a friend, bosom friend, and he would place trust in him. But when the man becomes aware that the householder son has placed trust in him, then finding him alone, he would take his life with a sharp knife. When this rich man is alone, nobody around us, all other bodyguards, all are away. Maybe at night, he was alone. So this cunning, wicked murderer approached slowly and cut his throat with sharp knife. What do you think? So when the Sariputta said, what do you think, friend Yamaka? When that man approached that householder's son and said to him, I would serve you, sir, wasn't he a murderer even then? When he was coming and approaching him and telling him that he wanted to serve him, still he was a murderer. Though the other did not recognize him as my murderer. The rich man never recognized him. Rich man never recognized that this is my murderer. When the man was serving him, rising up before him, retiring after him, doing whatever he was, agreeable in his conduct, enduring in his speech, wasn't a murderer then too? Though others did not recognize him as my murderer, Yamaka, do you think that while doing all these things, was he not a murderer? The rich, foolish man does not recognize it, but whether he recognizes it or not, this cunning, wicked man is his murderer. When the murderer came upon him while he was alone and took his life with a sharp knife, wasn't a murderer then too? Though the other did not recognize him as my murderer? Yes, my friend. All this time he was a murderer. But the foolish man does not recognize it. Now, who is this foolish person? This foolish person is, friend Yamaka, the uninstructed worldling, who is not seer of the noble ones and is unskilled in and undisciplined in the noble Dhamma, their Dhamma, who is not seer of superior persons and is unskilled in the and uninstructed in in their Dhamma, regard form as self, or self as possessing form, or form as in self, or self as in form. Now, this murderer was born with our birth. When we were born, this murderer was also born with us. Who is this murderer? The form is our murderer. Uninstructed Dhamma regards the form as self, form as my friend, and similarly, self as possessing form. This is my form. And form as in self, or self as in form. Now, I mentioned this the other day also. These are four ways of considering self. Self. Four ways of considering each of the five aggregates as self. Form, feeling, perception, volitional formations, and consciousness. All these we regard as in five ways as self. So this 5 times 4, 20. This is called 4 times of belief in self. Sakkaya Ditthi. 4 kinds of Sakkaya Ditthi. And finally, consciousness as self, self as consciousness, possessing consciousness, or consciousness as in self, or self as in consciousness. So, this is the murder appearing in all these ways. He does not understand as it really is, painful form as painful form, painful feeling as painful feeling, painful perception as painful perception, painful volitional formations as painful volitional formation, painful consciousness as painful consciousness. He does not understand as it really is, selfless form as selfless form, selfless feeling as selfless feeling, selfless perception as selfless perception, selfless volitional formation as selfless volitional formation, selfless consciousness as selfless consciousness. He does not understand as it really is, conditioned form as conditioned form, conditioned feeling as conditioned feelings, conditioned perception as conditioned perception, conditioned volitional formations, conditional volitional formation, conditioned consciousness as conditioned consciousness. He does not understand as it really is, murderous form as murderous form, murderous feeling as murderous feeling, murderous perception as murderous perception, murderous volitional formation as murderous volitional formation, murderous consciousness as murderous consciousness. And as he becomes engaged with form, cling to it, and takes stand upon it, as myself, become engaged with feeling, with perception, with volitional formation, with consciousness, and cling to it, and takes stand upon it as myself. This same five aggregates of clinging, this is very important. Whenever Sariputta talk about five, not only five aggregates of clinging to which he becomes engaged and to which he clings to, lead to his harm and suffering for a long time. Now, who is this murderer? There are five murderers: form, feeling, perception, volition, formation, consciousness, and we must recognize it. Uninstructed person, ordinary worldling, Putujana, does not understand it. But this murderer slowly sneaked in at the birth and keep looking for a moment to kill us, assassinate us. But when instructions, disciple who is seer of the noble ones, and they understand the noble one's Dhamma, superior person Dhamma, does not regard form as self, or self-possessing form, or form as in self, or self as in form. So, he does not have these 20 types of misunderstanding of self. He does not regard feeling as self, perception as self, volitional formation as self, consciousness as self, or self as possessing consciousness, or consciousness as in self, or self is as in consciousness. Now, this he understands as it really is: impermanent form as impermanent form, impermanent feeling as impermanent feeling, impermanent perception as impermanent perception, impermanent volitional formation as impermanent volitional formation, impermanent consciousness as impermanent consciousness. He understands as really is: painful form as painful feeling, painful perception, feeling as painful feeling, painful perception as painful perception, painful volitional formation as painful volitional formation, painful consciousness as painful consciousness. He understands as it really is: selfless form as selfless form, selfless feeling as selfless feeling, selfless perception as selfless perception, selfless volitional formation as selfless volitional formation, selfless consciousness as selfless consciousness. He understands as it really is: conditioned form as conditioned form, conditioned feeling as conditioned feeling, conditioned perception as conditioned perception, conditioned volition as conditioned volitional formation, conditioned consciousness as conditioned consciousness. And he understands as it really is: murderous form as murderous form, murderous feeling as murderous feeling, murderous perception as murderous perception, murderous volitional formation as murderous volition formation, murderous consciousness as murderous consciousness. So we are living with murderers, not only one, five of them: form, feeling, perception, volition, formation, consciousness. And therefore, he does not engage with form, clinging to it, and take stand upon it as myself. He does not become engaged with feeling, perception, volition formation, consciousness, and cling to it, and take stand upon it as myself, these same five aggregates of clinging, to which it does not become engaged, and to which he does not cling, leads his welfare and happiness for a long time. So it is, and friend Sariputta, for those venerable ones who have such a compassionate and benevolent brothers in the holy life, to admonish and instruct them. And now that I have heard this Dhamma teaching of the Venerable Sariputta, my friend, is my mind is liberated from the chains by not clinging, non-clinging. This is what Venerable Sariputta said. Elated, the Venerable Yamaka, delighted in Venerable Sariputta's statement. Now Venerable Yamaka attained full enlightenment, and he was very much like in the attainment of enlightenment like Sariputta. But Sariputta is wiser than all other arahants. He is second only to the Buddha. This is my last Dhamma talk for you for this session, as I mentioned. And now we have about 20 minutes to meditate. And let us do that. And I hope you keep this in mind and reflect on this next 3 months. You have 90 days to reflect, meditate, and come up with question next year. Okay, now meditate. And next year, I answer, if I live that long, I answer your question. Okay. May all beings be happy and secure. May all beings have happy minds. Whatever living beings there may be, without exception, weak or strong, long or large, medium, short, subtle or gross, visible or invisible, living near or far, born or coming to birth, may all beings have happy minds. Let no one deceive another, nor despise anyone anywhere, neither from anger nor ill will, should anyone wish harm to another, as the mother would risk her own life to protect her only child, even so, towards all living beings, one should cultivate a boundless heart. One should cultivate for all the world a heart of boundless living friendliness, above, below, and all around, unobstructed, without hatred or resentment. Whether standing, walking, sitting, lying down, or whenever awake, one should develop this mindfulness. This is called divinely dwelling here, not falling into erroneous views, but virtuous and endowed with vision, removing desire for sensual pleasures, one comes never again to birth in the womb. Now let us meditate. It is little more than 15 minutes. Hmm. By means of these meritorious deeds, may I never join with the foolish. May I join always with the wise until the time and attain Nibbana. May the suffering be free from suffering. May the fear-struck be free from fear. May the grieving be free from grief. So too may all beings be. From the highest realm of existence to the lowest, may all beings arisen in these realms, with form and without form, with perception and without perception, be released from all suffering and attain to perfect peace. Excellent, excellent, excellent. All those who are in hospitals suffering from various diseases, taken care of by doctors, nurses and hospital staffs, may they recover very soon, return to normal health, practice meditation, understand Dhamma, and attain liberation from samsaric suffering. May all the doctors, nurses, hospital staffs who also take care of these people with compassion try to find time to practice meditation, understand Dhamma, and attain liberation from samsaric suffering. May all those who have lost their loved ones also understand nature of life, practice Dhamma, practice meditation, liberate from samsaric suffering. May all those who are in trouble spots, war-zone, poverty-stricken, flooding, landslides, and they have many lost their loved ones, may they attain, those who live, understand the nature of life, nature of nature, and practice the meditation, practice Dhamma. Nobody knows when we will face the same situation, therefore prepared by learning meditation, learning Dhamma, and liberate themselves from samsaric suffering. May all those who are in the northern direction, northeastern direction, eastern direction, southeastern direction, southern direction, southwestern direction, western direction, northwestern direction, up and below, all those who are in these 10 directions be well, happy and peaceful. May they all liberate themselves from samsaric suffering. So friends, that's all we can do now. And I see you again if I live long enough next year in after middle of March.
Thank you, Bante.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu,
Sadhu,
sadhu.
sadhu.
Bante.
Nirvan Saranai
Namo
Bante.
Buddhaya.
Everyone, Saranai
Thanks, love
Bante.
life.
Sarana, sarana.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
healthy, Bante. Make you
Congratulations
healthy.
on your meditation.
Okay, thank
Please
you.
come back.
Thank you.